back to my channel. My name is Kristen, and if you are new here, I make videos about motherhood and lifestyle. And today we are going to do a video about how I knew I was pregnant. And so hopefully this will be helpful if you think you might be pregnant or you are thinking about getting pregnant and you want to figure out, how am I going to know? Alright guys, alright, let's get into it. Alright. Guys, so how I knew I was pregnant. And so if you are trying to get pregnant or think you might be pregnant, I feel you, because it is tricky when you're trying to figure out, you're like, am I pregnant? Am I not? Oh, I feel it weird. And you're kind of just everything you're feeling, you think it's a symptom, or every symptom you have, you're like, oh my God, this is it. And so I remember, and I want to say first, I totally feel you too on this, because I remember before I got pregnant, the month before I was pregnant, I was convinced I was pregnant. I had all the symptoms. I was nauseous. I was, very like classic symptoms I thought I had. And I kept getting negative pregnancy tests and I was not pregnant. So, it can be tricky and it's hard to read your body, because also, which is weird, is, so I have my phone in my hand because I have some of my symptoms I want to write down and say. I wrote down some of my personal symptoms because I had some weird ones. But what I wanted to say was, what is so crazy is that a lot of pregnancy symptoms are very similar to the symptoms that you have right before you get your period. And so it's confusing for sure. And if you are in that dreaded 2-week wait period, the 2-week wait can be hard. And that is generally the window where you are analyzing every single thing that's happening to you. You're like,
oh, I feel nauseous. Do I feel nauseous? I feel tired. Is that I'm pregnant?
Anything that you have, which could normally just be, that's how you're feeling. And so, for no reason. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about what my symptoms were. I had a few unusual symptoms, and a little bit about my experience, what it was like when I found out when I was pregnant. So, all right. So, some of my first symptoms were eye watering. My eyes were watering like crazy. And so that was one thing that happened that was kind of unusual, that I didn't realize was a symptom of being pregnant. I thought like I just had something in my eyes or something all the time. I don't know. But no, it is. It's not super common, but that is something that can be a symptom of being pregnant. It has to do with your hormones and things like that. A lot of things that happen to you are because of your hormones, which is confusing because hormones are weird. Hormones can be weird. They do weird things to your body. So for me, my eyes were just like watering like crazy. So that was a symptom that I had. My eyes were twitching. I had a lot of eye issues going on. Another huge thing for me was I was so tired. So this was a big tip off to me, because I obviously had been tired in the past, but this was like on another level. I remember sitting at my desk at work and just being like,
I can't go on. Like,
how am I going to get through the rest of the day? Like, I am so tired, which will be a tip off to you, I think, because for me, I was like, this is weird because I slept last night. It's not like I'm, was out partying all night or something, and I haven't done that in a really long time anyway. But, like, it's weird. It's a weird, I hadn't felt that way in a long time, and I was like, this is weird. And so that was a big tip off to me. I was not nauseous. I was not like classic, like in the movies you see people like, oh my God, and running to the bathroom and throwing up in the middle of the day or in the morning or whatever. I did not have morning sickness. So that, I could not go off of that. So for me, eventually, as I became more and more pregnant, like I was a few months pregnant, I would get nauseous in the morning if I didn't eat something. But like the classic morning sickness where you're waking up and you're puking your brains out and you're like, oh
my God, I'm pregnant.
that you see on TV, I did not have. So that was something that, so if you suspect you might be pregnant, but you're not having morning sickness or you're not feeling nauseous, you still could be pregnant. Not everybody experiences that. Another thing that happened to me was I remember I fell asleep on the couch, and it was a few days before I was supposed to get my period, maybe like 2 days before. And at this point, I was in the process I was like, I'm not taking pregnancy tests anymore. And so I was like, I'm gonna wait. After it had been like this month, I was like, I'm just gonna wait, see if my period's late, because that is the biggie, if you don't get your period. But and then I'll take a pregnancy test. So it was 2 days before I was supposed to get my period, and I still had not gotten it. And I fell asleep on the couch watching show, and I got up, and it was like maybe like midnight, and I got up to go upstairs, and I think me and my husband both fell asleep on the couch. And we both kind of were like waking up, and we went to go upstairs, and when I stood up, I got super lightheaded, and by the time I got to the top of the stairs, I felt like I was gonna pass out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pass out. And so I almost passed out in the bathroom, and I just like all the blood drained from my face, and I went like super white, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened to me? And looking back, I think what was going on was I was pregnant. And I think my blood pressure really dropped, and I think that was definitely a sign that like that was very unusual. That doesn't really happen to me ever, was definitely a sign. So after that happened, I was like, I wonder if I'm pregnant. And so, but I still did not take a test. I still was like, I'm just going to ride this out, because I know that, when you get a negative pregnancy test, it's kind of, or not kind of, but it's super sad, especially if you want to be pregnant. And so at this point in my life, we were ready to have kids, and we were excited about it, and we wanted to get pregnant. And so I had taken a few pregnancy tests prior to this, and they were all negative, obviously, because this was our first baby. And so, and they had all been negative. And so I was like, I don't want to do this like every month, be like, I think I'm pregnant, and then take a pregnancy test and have it be negative. And so this time I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, see what happens. And it turned out that I waited 2 days, and I was 2 days late for my period. And I took a pregnancy test, and at that point I was still, experiencing super fatigue, super tired, eye watering, but like my boobs weren't really sore. I didn't have a lot of the classic symptoms. I can put some of the classic symptoms on the screen now so you can see, but when you essentially it's what you're like Googling, and they say online what to look for. So that's why that is why I kind of wanted to make a video, because I wasn't like a classic case of, the pregnancy symptoms. Then I took a test when I got home from work before the weekend, and it was a Friday, and it was positive. And so we were super excited, and I was kind of in shock, but also sort of when that happens, everything kind of starts to make sense. You start to be like, oh, okay, so that's why I was feeling this way. That's why. And you start to sort of maybe symptoms you were kind of ignoring or not realizing were connected, everything kind of starts to make sense. And so, yeah, so I mean, hopefully that's helpful. I think that when you're trying to get pregnant, it's a very tricky time. It can be very stressful and disappointing. It can be scary. It can be exciting. It can be all these crazy things, really happy. But I think that definitely don't be too hard on yourself. I remember thinking, I had read a ton of research online of other women's stories about getting pregnant, their struggles with infertility, their experiences with taking a pregnancy test too early, but then they really were pregnant. And then you get in this, like, in your head of like, well, maybe I really am still pregnant because I took the test too early and it's negative, but I'll take another test in a few days and it'll be positive. And you know, it's hard. You kind of are going through this process. It's definitely a process. It's definitely like you have to be in it to kind of be like, all right, let's do this. And, you know, it's hard. I think make sure you communicate with your partner and let them know how you're feeling. That was really helpful for me going through the process. And, but yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And if you are trying to get pregnant, or if you are recently just found out you're pregnant, or you are trying to get pregnant, congratulations. It's very exciting. Let me know in the comments down below what your symptoms were for when you were pregnant, and how you knew you were pregnant or how you found out you were pregnant. I'd love to find that out. So let me know in the comments down below. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, join the family, and hit the bell notification button so you get a notification every time I post a new video. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video. All right, guys. We got some fun videos coming up, so I'm excited for that. All right. Bye, guys.